практики. Это небольшая презентация. Very short presentation. Коллеги из Германии, научные сотрудники, научные сотрудники университета Германского университета поделятся своим опытом, знанием. А потом после обеда будет две полноценных лекции, именно связанных с темой проекта водоподготовка.
So, good morning, everybody. Some of you were here yesterday. I recognize some faces. Maybe there are some new faces as well. So, what I want to give you information about this morning is how we do handle commercial projects at our university. So, in some cases, it's not so easy for a university to have a direct contact to an industrial partner, for example, an enterprise or small company who has encountered some problems, let's say, in wastewater treatment. And there are some barriers between the commercial working people in society and the universities. You might recognize such problems here in your country as well. So the presentation is labeled Transfer of Knowledge to Professional Practice. Okay? So this is a short outline. You should not send me an email, not during my presentation, please. Thank you. First, I give a short overview about the problems and boundary conditions. After that, an approach for solving the problem, for making a contact between universities and industry, and after that some practical experience benefits for both sides. And at the end I will give you some selected information from some projects we have done so far. Okay. So you might find out by yourself that making a contact between university and company sometimes is not easy. And we have several reasons for this. So you have ambitious problems in the industry, and these problems can sometimes be solved by a normal office, engineering office consultant, etc. But in some cases, the problem goes deeper. And there is some scientific knowledge needed to solve the problem. For getting a decent solve of the problem. A consultant may, with a consultation with an expert from a university, for example a professor, maybe could solve the problem. But the contact does not happen. And that has reasons. Often a discrepancy between the workflow of companies, municipalities, and universities can be observed because they are working different. They have different daily routines of work. They have different demands, different ways to solve the problems as well. And, of course, different languages. Sometimes you will find out as a teacher, if you talk to some people from a small company, that they cannot follow. They don't understand what you are talking about. And vice versa sometimes, because their business is to produce something and sell it. Besides, they have problems with exhaust air, with water, whatever, with waste. And maybe, I don't know, in my country we have, so this all results in fears for communication and cooperation. So there is a barrier. We have a saying that the university is sometimes denoted as an ivory tower. So the professors are sitting in their ivory tower. There's such a difference of knowledge between the industry and the universities, and getting together is really hard. Another reason can be the bureaucracy of the universities, which makes it not easier to handle third-party projects. So even if you have the contact and you could run a project between university and the company, it is in Germany not so easy because we have strict rules. When we have to buy some equipment, when we have to hire people and pay them for a short-term job, it's not that easy to do it with a university because they have a bureaucracy. We have personal issues with the staff. So I'm employed at the university and at an institute. We'll come to that later. Being employed by the university means that I'm not insured. When I'm doing engineering for a company and I'm doing a mistake or something happens during my work, I'm not insured. And insurance is an important factor. So we have personal issues with the staff of the universities, difficult factoring and cash flow for the departments. So if my professor gets the order from a company, it's not that easy to make the cash flow to his account inside the university. We have an overhead. So they demand 30 to 40% on top of the amount for the project. So the overhead costs of the university increasing the project sum. And that's one reason that the industry said, okay, it's too expensive to work together with the universities. And as I mentioned before, no protection by insurance. Thus resulting in disadvantages for a fruitful cooperation between a commercial enterprise and the university. Okay, one approach to solve the problem is that you create an institution between the university and the commercial working enterprises. So in 1993, we founded an institution for the promotion of innovation and transfer of technology. So in German it's FIT, which is the translation of this term. So it was funded in 1993, and 1 year later an institute was established as an executive body. So the people or the partners who created this common base were from professors from the universities, or the universities themselves, partners from industry, handicraft business, public institutions, and service providers. I have a diagram later on to show you the construct. And the WUZ, that's the Westfälisches Umweltzentrum, I'm employed at, is a kind of an institute. It's not a real institute. A real institute is completely associated with a university and should not work commercially. So we have contracts with the universities, agreement of corporations. So we are acting sometimes as an institute and sometimes like an engineering office. In between. So the main task is to provide the knowledge transfer in both directions, not only from the university into industry, but vice versa, from industry into university. So we are a kind of an intersection. Cooperation agreements were signed with the universities. So this is the construction I was talking about. These are the representatives from the universities, the industry, handicraft business, and so on. And this is an association for the promotion of innovation and transfer technology. This is a registered society, in Germany, eingetragener Verein. And these societies are not allowed to make a surplus. You know, they can earn money, but they have to spend it. It's not. The issue is you don't become rich with such a construction, but it makes working easier. And this is a WUZ, Westfälisches Umweltzentrum. We have offices in Höxter. That's the location of my university and Paderborn. So there's a cooperation between our efficiency, environmental chemistry, materials engineering, and in Höxter, water and wastewater technology, air pollution control, and waste management and recycling, and a little bit more. It depends on the job, on the task that has to be done. The practical experience and benefits for both sides is that we have a good networking because we have the agreement with the university and we have good contacts to the local industry and even industry which is a little bit far away in different countries, let's say, for example, in Switzerland. Due to the good networking, it's much easier to make a contact between the university and the industrial partner. We arrange the contacts. We take care that the cooperation will be successful. The projects can be handled partly or completely by our institution. So that means that we are doing the work completely, or we are doing only a part of the work, which means that we can participate even in research projects, which are funded maybe by the BMBF, the Ministry for Education and Research in Germany. Either the assignment is being made directly between a company and the WUZ, or as a sub-order from the university. Let's say one company has good contacts to a professor. They did a project maybe in the past, and there is a task to be done, or a professor gets money from a fund for a research project. Then we can execute parts of this work that has to be done in the content of the project. This is why I said example given within research and development projects. Less administration leads to more flexible working conditions. One example is easier provisioning. So we have very strict rules. If I want to order, let's say, some laboratory equipment for the university, and the equipment price is more than 410 euro, then I have to ask for 3 offers. I have to compare. I have to make a documentation, then I write the order, then give it to the office which orders it. It takes such a long time. If this part is being outsourced to the WUZ, I pick up the phone, I call the dealer, say I need this and this, how much is it? Okay, order, next day it's there. Much easier. The employees within the projects are protected by a liability insurance for engineering services, which is tremendously important if you're doing jobs for the industry and you're doing a wrong calculation, or you're doing a mistake, or something else happens while you're in the company, for example, an accident. The costs can be 1 million euro or more. So this is covered by an engineering insurance for such cases. And throughout the last 2 decades, I've been working for 21 years now for the WUZ. So it was funded in 1994, I started in 1995. In 21 years. So we did more than 300 projects. I think now it's more than 400 projects. Smaller and bigger projects. Of course there are projects only a few thousand euros, but there are projects several 10,000 euros. The biggest project was 600,000 euros. So it was a research project for the incineration of plastic waste in a coal energy plant where they fired coal for producing electric power. Okay. Here are some examples. This is a project which started in 1999 as a study. We were asked by a chemical producer and pharmaceutical producer located in Darmstadt. I can name the company, it's Merck. You might know it, MERCK. producing medicine, producing laboratory goods, chemicals. They're very famous for the producing of LCDs, these liquid crystals in the displays. That's one of the leading producers of LCDs today. So they asked us for a study, how can be the water supply in 20 years. So the development in water supply. So the special situation in this company was that they are not located directly by a river. Normally, big chemical industry is located close to a river due to the demand of cooling water. You might know that. They are not located close to a river in Darmstadt. So they pump water, they extract it from the ground, and there are special needs. And 2 or 3 years later, they asked us to help them because they had to write a report every 2 years for the local authorities, telling them what happens with the extracted water. What is it being used for? Where are the contaminations? What kind of water is being used? Processed water, cooling water, cleaning water, and so on. And we designed a database for them. That's a database WANO, which means water usage, Wassernutzung. It's water usage database. And this database has elements every 2 years. So I used to work for the chemical industry for 7 years before I studied and worked for the institute. So I got familiar with all the equipment they are using. So every 2 years we did data collection in the company. So the yearly amount of water is not that much, but it's 2 million cubic meters, which was used, let's say, for usage water, drinking water, deionized water, and these are the water qualities on the input side. This is the processed water, wastewater, pumping water. This is for vacuum pumps, for example. That's cooling water, sanitary water, water which goes into a channel or into a pipe that has to be treated. This is a sum of the influent, sum of the effluent, so we can make balances. Here we have all the equipment being used inside the building, which gives an overview about the pumps, about the air scrubbers, and such items. So we generated it in cooperation with the company. So second benefit was identification of possible water savings. So every 2 years they have one part of their report was to show that they take care of water savings possibilities. How is it possible to save water within such a company? And this was used as a tool for it. The assignment was made directly between the customer and the WUZ. So in this case. Okay. This is a project example where we had only a part of the project within an R&D project. So it was about the treatment of stormwater, of runoff water from traffic areas. So at the moment in Germany, there's a lot of effort being done for the treatment of runoff water before it's been discharged into a water body. The water has to be treated, let's say, at least by sedimentation. So this was a very sophisticated system. So the constructor said, and the city of Volker was interested in testing such systems before they ordered a lot of them. So we did the testing, but the contract was made between the ministry, the municipality and the university, and the WUZ was only sub-partner in this project for an easier handling. So it was determination of the performance of a decentralized sedimentation system. That's the system, and that's a modification we did for the sampling of the influent and effluent. Here is the pipe is for measuring the water height. So we have a relation between the height of the system and the effluent. So it's a QH or Q height relation that will be created for the logging. And we was operating the system, including the analysis, hydraulic data recording with a flow meter and a rain recorder. And this is part of the evaluation of the data. So we have red is the recorded data by the Q logger, by the flow meter, which was located inside here. Then we have blue is the rain recorder. So you see sometimes it rains and nothing happens in the system. That has to do with the intensity of the rain. If it's only drizzling a little bit, you record the rain, but nothing happens on the surface. So you have evaporation, for example, and you have loss because of the porosity of the material. And we did a simulation with a simulating program as well. That's a curve in green, and you can see that the system matches really good. So that's part of our job. And the assignment, as I told you before, was made as a sub-order from the university in relation to the R&D project. Okay. So here we have another example for a direct assignment between a customer and the WUZ. That company, we do a lot of work for them because we have been knowing it ever since. It's a very famous company, it's FSB in Brakel. They're producing products like this. These goods here, they're well known all over the world under architects because they have achieved a lot of prizes for the products. And I did my diploma in the company. So here they had problems with the decolorizing of the used up dye bars from the metalworking company. So the dye bars, they changed the product in between, and then they found out we have tremendous problems in decolorizing it because this company is very sophisticated. They changed their production to the so-called LOX 2000 program, which means they're producing without wastewater. They don't discharge any wastewater. They have recycling streams everywhere. They're doing a lot of effort to realize this, and at the end, of course, they do an evaporation of water, and then they have solid waste to be disposed. So they had tremendous problems with this dyeing bars, and we did some research for them, what can be done with this bars. So it was absolutely clear that only activated carbon could be used to solve the problem for decolorizing. Otherwise, you had more costs with, let's say, ozone or H2O2. This seemed to be the cheapest solution for them, so we found out the appropriate kind of activated carbon and the capacity, and it ended up in the dimension of a two-stage absorber for the treatment of the bars. So this gives you an overview about some selected companies we've been working for. Some of them you might know. This is the company I was talking about last. It's FSB. You can check them in the internet. They have a very nice homepage with their products. Nixdorf, we're doing analysis for them with their cooling water. Benteler, it's one of the biggest in Europe in the automotive industry, producing parts for VW, BMW, Mercedes, and so on. Merck in Darmstadt, Symrise, one of the world's biggest producer for the basics of perfumes and I don't know the term for tasties, aromatics, yeah. And Stiebel Eltron, of course, maybe heating water facilities, and a lot of more. So it gives you only a short impression about the institutions we have done work with and work for. So this is a building. Some of you who will come over next year will recognize this. This is a building 5000 of my university. My office is located there. This is the office of Professor Fetting, And on the other side are the laboratories I showed you yesterday. All right, thank you for your attention.
Олег, ты хочешь спросить пару вопросов? Коллеги, по теме, по твоей теме. Развитие, бизнес, связь между предприятиями, коммерциализация.
So this was thought as a base for a discussion. What I'm interested in, how has it been done here? How do you handle commercial projects with the university? Have you?
Directly between
Directly.
the university and company.
Okay. And is it combined with a lot of bureaucracy, or is it easy?
No, we haven't such problem.
Okay, maybe it's easier here.
My university is office for the transfer of innovations to the industry, and it exists about 10 years
Okay.
and works maybe 6 persons. And
Yeah.
the results 0% per 10 years.
Really?
Really.
No contact has been made?
I construct a number of devices, and for me it's much better to have one person enterprise and to work directly with a laboratory.
Okay.
Because I construct the device and I directly sell. The bureaucracy in the university is so big that it is impossible, and the cost of this device will be maybe 10 times bigger.
Yeah, then if you would like maybe directly. Yeah. Yes, that was one reason why we did it this way, and it works perfectly.
When enterprise some from scientists, when they see that it is necessary to work by the bureau,
Okay.
they tell thank you.
Yeah, not interested anymore.
It is too difficult to do with bureaucracy.
Yeah. So, but here in Ukraine, it's no problem for you to have a fruitful cooperation between university and enterprises.
We have problem in company financial.
Okay. So the companies are not willing to pay money to solve the problems. Okay. They only want to make cash flow. No investment. Okay.
Question?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Does your institute cooperate with non-European universities or companies outside Europe?
I have to think about that. We haven't done that so far. Yeah. It's only a cooperation between the universities of Paderborn and my university. Because my university once belonged to the University of Paderborn. That's historic. But the agreement has been made only between the two universities and my institute. So no cooperation with foreign universities. It can be that in some projects there is another partner as another company, university, but let's say it's the University of Braunschweig or so. It's not from a foreign country.
Еще вопросы есть? Any question?
Yeah. Just want to say that in Tunisia we have started 2 years ago a platform created by the Ministry of Industry, the Ministry of Higher Education, to recruit some PhD students to work within the industry, within the framework of projects. So they get paid from like 50% from the industry,
Yes.
and 50% from let's say the ministry, I think Ministry of Higher Education.
So it's a co-financed
Yeah,
program.
finance, yeah. So just to encourage the industry to work together with the university.
Yeah. bring them together.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're doing your work in university and you're doing your research and your development, but it only drops into the industry. It does not flow.
Yeah.
And the industry has no chance to tell the university their needs.
Yeah, but the main problem here that the main topics are only in the process.
Okay?
That they are not dealing with the environmental issues.
Yes.
So if they have like problems to optimize the process, so they contact the Ministry of Industry, so to have sort of collaboration with the university.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, we're going a step further
yeah.
and saying, okay, we're doing work. Sometimes we are accused, to be honest, by competitors in the business that we are using equipment maybe from the university for our work. But we are focusing on projects which cannot be handled correctly by a normal engineering office because they haven't got the equipment anyway. A normal office cannot do some adsorption tests on activated current. They don't have the shakers, they don't have the analytics. So there's no chance for them to get this order from the company. But anyway, they're accusing us sometimes, not all. In between, it's calmed down. In the beginning, when we started, of course, we were opponents for them. Say, okay, we're getting no more orders from industry. It was not true, but we focus on work that cannot be done by normal office, where a lot of research has to be done or special analysis or whatever.
It's like applied
Yes,
research.
yes.
It's not
And it's a little bit higher than the daily business engineering offices or consultants.